Welcome to the WedCo podcast, your ultimate guide to the wedding world. Whether you're a bride, groom, or wedding vendor, this is the place to be. Join us as we dive into real stories, expert advice, and behind-the-scenes insights to help you plan the perfect day. So grab a seat and let's celebrate love, connection, and creativity together. Before we get into this episode, I'd love to ask you a super quick and easy favor. If you're enjoying the WedCo podcast, please hit that follow button on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. It might seem small, but it makes a huge difference in helping the podcast grow and means I can keep bringing on amazing vendors to share their insights with you. Thank you so much for your support. It truly means the world. Hello and welcome to the WedCo podcast. I'm Toga and today we are at Maroon Hill Estate. Thank you so much for having us here. We've got Sarah and Rhys on the couch with us. Thank you so much for hosting us. This has been like an absolute dream. I remember I was out here maybe about a month ago for a wedding and just like watching the sunset kind of across the hills there. It's just... every time I drive up here, just like seeing the hills and everything in the background, it's just stunning.
Oh, it's great to finally meet you and yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. Like we usually kind of start, I guess, a little bit of a backstory. So we know when you grow up, like from 3 or 4, you knew you wanted to have a wedding venue. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very different actually.
Yeah. Well, so Sarah and I were both in the army for a long time. And we bought this land while we were in the army. And we didn't buy it with the intention of a wedding venue at the time. We actually had a bit of an idea of putting glamping tents on here.
Yep.
So really nice luxury glamping tents. So we bought the land with that in mind, but once we started getting into what that actually involves and what glamping tents require and a driveway and power, septic, all that kind of stuff, it kind of wasn't realistic to do those cabins.
Yep.
So we started looking at building a house. And then we thought, well, we're just going to build a house for Airbnb, or are we going to do something different? And so we thought we'd do a wedding venue, and it was kind of at the time we thought, oh yeah, it'd be a great wedding venue. Our friends have been out here and they love it, and they think it'd make a great venue. And the neighbours who we bought the place off, they said they were thinking about doing weddings up here at one stage. So it just kind of developed that way. So when we built the place, with weddings in mind, and hope for the best, really.
We never actually planned how we would run the venue. Like that's a great idea. Like we love a project. Let's like work on this project together. But I think we only thought up until the point of project completion. We never thought beyond that. What's running a wedding venue actually going to look like, feel like, and how are we going to do it? But yeah, it's all worked out. It's all worked out really well. Like everything has just fallen into place.
Mm-hmm. And we still don't really know what running a wedding venue is like. We're still figuring that part out. But, so far so good.
So how long ago since the first wedding here?
So the first wedding as Maroon Hill Estate was in
July last year, 2024.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Before that, we got married out here in May.
Yep.
So we thought before we officially launch it as a venue, we'll get our wedding in there and do the first one. But even before that, our friends actually got married out here before there was a house or anything here. Before there was even a proper driveway, it was just a bit of a dirt road on the way up.
Yeah.
They got married out here because they came out camping with us out here one weekend and loved it and wanted to get married here. And they put a teepee up and just hired everything and brought it all in, and it was unreal. Yeah.
How good.
Yeah.
Like even when you're talking about camping up here, I'm like, oh, that would be the dream.
Yeah. Well, that was our weekends for quite a few years. In one of the ceremony areas of the trees there, we had a fire pit and sort of our camping spot there. And eventually we upgraded. We built a shed and we used to camp. First it was on the shed slab. We'd just, we'd sleep on the slab, and then we'd had a shed and we'd be like, oh, this is great. We're in a shed now. We're camping in a shed. And then for a while we could come out here and just stay in bedrooms and in the bathrooms. And nice, so.
You're like, what? Yeah. What is this?
That was all pre-kids though, when we bought this land in 2018, we were like, and we'd take on the world, we'd take on anything. We were like, let's do this. And then we ended up having our first child in 2021. And then 2024 was our first wedding. So,
okay.
Yeah, but we opened for bookings, I think, a little bit over a year before our first wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely something's going right, because every time I open Instagram, all I see is Maroon Hill come through. Like there's
really?
so many like stunning weddings that have already happened.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a lot of people within the industry talking about it. I feel like a lot of people would kind of put the effort into starting their own, wedding venue, and then the traction part of it is a really hard part to get.
Yeah.
But I feel like as far as like even just launching it, that launch has gone so well with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've got Drew and Mick from the White Stag.
Yeah. Okay.
And Bruce, those guys to thank, for a lot of just, I guess, rather than us starting at the start line, they put us a little bit in front as far as, just being exposed to the wedding industry. And they just, Drew's worked with a brand new venue before, and, it wasn't the first time sitting down with two people who knew nothing about it and saying, well, here's some things to think about. And, it really shaped a lot of the way he organised a style shoot for us, and at the time I didn't know what a style shoot was. Even on the day, I'm like, how much do I have to pay all these people to be out here? And I didn't really get it, but having those guys on board from the get go, well before we did our first wedding, they were we were working with them. That was absolutely a hit the ground running advantage for us.
Yeah. How was even the design process? Because like weddings are so aesthetically based. Like when you're coming together, like did you work with an architect as far as the house goes?
No. I was really inspired by New Zealand architecture. Like they have pretty much what we've designed.
Yeah.
A lot of that over there in the mountains.
Yep, definitely. Like around Wanaka and everything. Like I've done a lot of time around there, like stunning exactly like this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen much of it in Australia yet. There's a little bit of it in the cooler climates, like down south a bit, but nothing in Queensland. And I thought that would be so amazing for our like venue, and the white, it would be, So we just designed it ourselves through a builder.
We went through it I think if we went back to our very first sketch of the place, it's so similar to what actually we've ended up with. The first sketches, there was probably some pretty out there sketches to begin with, but some of our first sketches, to what we have now, certain measurements and door sizes and all that kind of things, it's our first time ever building anything, that kind of shaped it a bit, but it was actually really similar to what we first envisioned.
Yep.
And then, we love the look of this place, but I guess there's certain design aspects that have posed their own challenges. It's to get that really nice sort of no eave look on the house. Obviously, as soon as there's a bit of rain, you got to close windows and close doors, and you don't get that benefit of like a standard house design. There's a reason they do it that way. So there's a few things that we just didn't think about at the time, but we've just kind of work around now, and it's a worthwhile design choice because it looks a certain way and we like it.
I feel like it is so iconic already. Like as soon as you see photos of the front facade, everyone knows where it is. And I mean, that's only a short amount of time, but everyone already knows that.
Yeah, I think we've done something right as far as the simplicity and the way it's all worked out in the end. But
that design was so important to me, like to have the double peaks.
Yeah.
And during the build, our builder, we originally had some plans done up through a different design company, and it was a matter of the new builder redrew the plans, and there was a matter of a dotted line that was supposed to be other way around, solid line that was supposed to be a dotted line.
Yeah.
And it when they redrew it, it was drawn up wrong, and when they built it, we came out here one day and I looked at that side of the house and we're like, that doesn't look right. Something doesn't look right. We're like, we have to change it.
Yeah.
And
it was at the frame stage, but it was going to completely change the whole look of the front of the place.
Yeah, on that other side of the venue.
And here as well, there was a bit of a the way the trusses were at the front. That we had to get the builder to pull trusses back to redo it because it wasn't going to work.
We were very lucky that he was so flexible and that he knew it meant so much to us to have that shape and that look. Steve Parcell was the builder that did it, and he was great. Great to deal with. He builds a lot of houses out here.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. And then even so obviously there's been a lot of forethought as far as like ceremony spaces and everything like that goes. Back up when you were kind of back in the camping days, had you already had kind of those earmarked of like, this is where, we would love to get married? Like, did you get married down the back? Yeah, you did. Okay, cool. So you just knew that was the spot?
Yeah, we call it the circle of trees. Yeah. Because it's like there's not many trees on top of this hill apart from that circle. And when you look at it from bird's eye view looking down, like on a drone, it's a circle. Yeah. So someone back in the days planted this circle of trees, anyway, looking out towards the mountain, like obviously the mountain's the focal point, and in that circle of trees you get like this really nice sort of like a whimsical feel, but also you've got that grand mountain in the background. But a lot of people just like the open mountain view as well. We've got a larger flat open area, and a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
It's probably 50-50, I think, the weddings we've done so far between those two spots.
Yeah, okay.
And I reckon there's a hugely different feel between the two. You kind of get the birds chirping a bit in the trees, and you can hear the wind through the trees. But then the other open area, it's kind of feel a bit on top of the world, and everything's unobstructed. So it's a different feel. But
do you notice a difference in the type of weddings those weddings are, like whether someone chooses like one or the other spot?
No, not really.
No.
Not yet. I think it comes down to
maybe this year we will.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of it comes down to the personality of the couple getting married, and you know what connects with them. So
yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about like say accommodation options? Okay, so say someone, you know, a couple have just booked in here. Like what would they essentially expect from coming to get married up here? Are they checking into the accommodation the night before, or like how does that all work?
Yeah, so you check in here and you've got the place for almost 3 days, so 2 nights with you know, basically a full 24 hours on the property before you have your ceremony.
Yep.
So, you know, most of our couples are checking in sort of 2 p.m. the day before.
Yep.
You know, they've got 24 hours on site to do as much as they want themselves as far as styling and setup goes. And they've got a chance to unwind and relax, and they're not just arriving at the ceremony straight into let's do our vows. Like, you know, they got time, you know.
They can do their walk down to the aisle, you know, by
practice
themselves.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
They can get here and they can stand, you know, where their sort of ceremony is going to be the 24 hours before, and they can see where the sun is, see where the shadows are, and they can, you know.
Practice their vows. I did it.
Yeah.
That's so rewarding though. Like you talk about like sun position and just knowing like, oh cool, if I'm here at this time, I'm going to be staring into the sun.
Yeah.
So even just knowing that, like how far forward or how far back do we want to be here as well?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of couples are they are wanting that whole kind of weekend experience. Like the more people we talk to, they don't want the check in, check out, you know, like they want to have family and they want to be able to experience it. And maybe they got a dinner the night before. And it works so much better from a photo video kind of point of view, where people have had the night before to say hello, to hang out, you know, to do all that and do all the small talk prior.
Yeah.
Because then they can actually really enjoy the actual wedding day.
Yeah. There's less pressure to like say hello to every single person and catch up on wedding day.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's like 8 o'clock and they're still going around to a circle and you're like, when are you going to relax? Like when you can actually enjoy your wedding day.
Yeah.
I think that was a big thing on our wedding when we got married here. And also some couples have done it where they've either gone into town or had like a little bit of a breakfast here afterwards when we can sort of, you know, facilitate it.
Yeah.
And it's good because I mean, for us, all our family coming back the next day, we didn't have to spend much time saying goodbye on the night.
Yeah.
It was just like, I'll see you in the morning, you know.
Yeah,
I'll make you coffee or something, you know. It was it was way more you didn't have to spend that time saying goodbye to everyone. You could that was awesome for us. And also the day before as well.
The night before we had some family over and just talked and had a beautiful dinner and
it was good.
woke up the next day and it was go time.
Game on.
Yeah.
Like how many people would you have on say a typical wedding at the moment? Like is there a capacity of people you can have on site or anything like that?
Yeah. So our limit's 120 for guests.
Awesome.
So and then in this room we can dine 120.
Yep.
It doesn't give you a massive amount of space for anything else like a dance floor, but you know, we can sit down 120 in here.
Yep.
I think for those bigger weddings, you know, our venue really lends itself towards more of a canapé, relaxed dining experience for those, you know, numbers up around 120. But we can definitely sit those people down.
Yeah.
But then, you know, to use this room, you know, for your dinner and dance floor and have plenty of space, I think 90 or below is a nice sort of setup for this area.
Yep.
And then so if you even 60, it's really a nice sort of use of the space. But we've had one of our first weddings was 20 guests, and they had a beautiful, you know, small, intimate ceremony and reception. They used a local caterer in town, the chef at Bloom Restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, he does incredible food. We've been fortunate enough to be there. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. How good's that?
It was really good for such a small little wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. anyone who comes through and mentions that they've sort of, got those smaller numbers, I definitely I mention him as an option just because, the dining experience that he would provide is unreal.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
But yeah.
Even like coming from the ceremony, so like you've got the umbrellas, you've got the festoon lights and everything. It's so nice. Like everyone kind of talks about spaces now. So it's like, cool, you're going to move from your ceremony space and then everyone's going to come up here for the canapes.
Yeah.
And like the last wedding I was at, I think it might have only been maybe 40 or 50 people. But like you said, it still feels like you don't want it to feel too big for the amount of people there as well. Like it's a real balance between like, yes, you've got this massive, like beautiful space that you have, but it still feels really intimate as well.
Yeah.
And like kind of people out there and they were grabbing their canapes and everything out there. And then there's like the little fire pit down there too. Like it just felt super homely.
Yeah.
Like you could feel just everyone felt like they belonged there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is more of a relaxed venue. Like I feel like that's what we want people to experience here is like they come in, they get to be here the day before. It's like easing into it, but they also get to soak up that like the views and the feeling of being here.
Yeah.
Because it is quite peaceful and you just look out onto the mountains and there's something really special about it. I think that's why we bought this block of land in the first place and didn't look at the driveway or no power or no water. We were just like, yep, this place is something. But
once we had the plan to buy some land, Sarah was in Tasmania. She was working down there at the time, and I was up here, and she sent me out with 3 addresses on one weekend. And so I navigated my way to these 3 addresses, and I didn't contact any real estate agents or anything to view them. I just thought I'll just go check it out.
Yep.
And then one, I was like looking around. In hindsight, what I was looking at wouldn't have been anything useful for what we ended up doing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh yeah, this has got potential, but it was maybe 3 acres or something.
Yep.
Potential for cabins.
Yeah, potential cabins at the time. And then I looked at another block of land, and it was, I think it must have already been sold because it was a house half under construction.
Yeah, okay.
And then I came here and apologies to the previous owners. I just jumped the fence and started having a looking around. And I started walking up the hill, and I remember I've still got the videos on my phone somewhere that I was sending Sarah because I was halfway up the driveway, where our current driveway is, and I'm sending Sarah some photos and videos back. Like, this is unreal. There's the road down there. Look at these views here. And I hadn't even got to the top of the hill and seen Mount Maroon or anything.
Yeah.
I was just, and then I got to the top and I was just like, yeah, this is
it.
I think I sent you like 15 minutes worth of videos or something.
Like, I'm sold. It's good. I'm good.
Yeah. And we did look at other places afterwards, but I think we just,
Nothing compared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was, something special about this place. Even on realestate.com, I was like, that's the one.
Yeah.
Like, I know nothing's going to compare. One other one that we went to, it had its own mountain.
Yeah, okay.
And it looked really cool on paper. But when we got there was no phone reception. Mm-hmm. The gates were all shut, and it was like, beware, don't enter, like, keep out.
Yeah.
Private property. And we're like, oh, this place feels that there's something about it doesn't feel right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
It didn't.
Not that tranquil feel that you want coming up.
It was like, what's going on in there? But also, like, no phone reception. Like, no one wants to go out somewhere with no phone reception and, like, not be able to contact people. Oh, I mean, sometimes that's nice, but generally, like, people like to be able to be in touch.
Where do you find like a lot of couples coming from at the moment? Is it like kind of Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast? Like, where are a lot of couples coming from currently?
I'd say mostly Brisbane.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely mostly Brisbane.
Yep.
Gold Coast and even some from Sunny Coast.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. Not too many, but surprisingly a few.
Yeah. I drive the route from Sunny Coast down here regularly.
Yeah.
So,
a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, it's surprising people are willing to drive and set up somewhere further away.
Well, even from Brian, I was saying it was like 2 hours for me this morning.
Yeah.
It's like it can take me more than 2 hours to get to Brisbane.
Yeah.
So like even from there, it's like I'm probably about an hour to the Gold Coast, but another hour from there, it's like, it's actually really close. Especially like so many people do want that kind of, it's almost like destination. Like they kind of do want to get away. They don't want to be going 10 minutes from their house.
Yeah.
Because it kind of loses a bit of that like special feeling when you can kind of just go past your wedding venue again.
Yeah.
And like I find I mean, would you have many weekends free where people can book here without a wedding, or are they kind of all taken up now?
No. Without it.
Yeah, without it being a wedding. Like, Is that an option?
We did that for the first year. Like we did accommodation. And when we started weddings, we were still doing weddings and accommodation. But flipping the house between Airbnb, because obviously this room that we're in now is set up with couches and like 4 massive couches. And it's just too much for us to be, we feel like removalists.
And you're driving that route from Sunshine Coast here like every day.
Yeah. And our kids, like, it's really hard because we bring the kids out too. So, you know, we're juggling them and trying to move the furniture around. And
we made it work for a little while, but it was, it was good to kind of, close the book on just doing accommodation and we know weekends away and just doing weddings. It's been good to make that jump.
Maybe in the future, if they got married here, they could like bring a tent and they can, you know, during the week or something like that, come for a night and they could just stay out there. Like just relive, you know, wedding day. Did you ever imagine you'd be wedding venue owners?
No. We just love a project. Like I think we always need to be doing something, and it's like a creative outlet for us. So we've really enjoyed like the 6 years that it's taken to get to this point in building the venue. All the, you know, choosing designs and like imagining what it would be like. And,
I think that's why we work well together as well, because Sarah's got, Sarah's much better at design than I am and aesthetics, and he looks at it really well through the lens of a couple getting married here and what they want it to look like and feel like and everything. Whereas I'm very practically minded as far as I'm measuring how long extension leads need to be, and what's the output of generators, all this kind of stuff. I'm sort of the practical one, which we sometimes form and function sort of butt heads a bit, and you've got to
we meet in the middle a lot. Like really meet in the middle because
we've got to, but it's worked so far. We've managed to maintain the look that we want, but also provide as much practicality and make it all work.
I think last time I was here, and even like I think with the generator, I feel like you can monitor from your place or something like that. Like I think Drew was saying you can monitor like Powerade and like even all that kind of stuff.
Well, we're completely off grid here, so it's all we're all off. We're not connected to the grid at all as far as electricity goes, or anything really. But we're completely off grid just because the cost of connecting to the grid is cost prohibitive. And
then you pay a power bill on top of that.
It's insane. By the time you get a road up here and then utilities, and you're like, it's not feasible.
But it's had its upsides. We just had Cyclone Alfred. The locals all lost power, and we wouldn't have known unless our neighbours.
The aircon on.
If our neighbours didn't tell us that they'd lost power, we wouldn't have known. And that's a benefit, and we've got multiple layers of redundancy. If certain parts of our own off-grid system goes down, we can keep it going. So
But Rhys monitors it. When there's weddings going on, he's like watching the phone.
The middle of the night, like why is there so much power still?
Are they still partying?
What is happening? That is good because that's happened at weddings I've been to before, and they've been beautiful venues, and the power has gone out, and I'm sure they do have redundancies of some sort as well. But it has happened in the past where, especially reception, the lights go out, the music goes out, and everyone's kind of just like, cool, like
we've got it set up now so that if we fully lose power, we can just run the whole venue off a generator. So we just upgraded our generator so that also because we got air conditioning now, so we needed a little bit more power to support the batteries and the usage.
And we'll keep upgrading the system and stuff as we go and adapting it.
Has there been a lot in the last year, like where you kind of set up, you have your first wedding, you're like, that's perfect. Has there been a lot since that point where you're like, oh, cool, we should add this?
Every single wedding. Every single wedding we learn a new lesson, which is amazing. Because, like little things that you're like, oh, I wish that didn't happen, or like I wish I could have done something, but we just learn and then we implement something for the next time. I find that even with our house, we used to Airbnb our house over Christmas. And the same thing, like there's so many things that are fine for you, but then other people come in and you're like, I didn't know I need that. Like even
I think Airbnb helped us when we were Airbnb in this house. Sort of helped us a bit with like learning what people need and stuff, just staying here.
And how they interact with the place.
That was a benefit. But throughout weddings, this house this room used to be set up with couches and a dining table and big rugs and that kind of stuff. Which absorbed a lot of the echo, which is why we put these sound panels up. Because as soon as you take all that away and you just got the hard surfaces of tables and floor, ceiling, walls, the echo in here was it was noticeable.
Yeah, okay. You're saying Sarah put all those up?
Yeah. I stayed home and she put them all up.
I told him to do it, and he just magically appeared.
Yeah,
He's still got a sore back today, the shoulders.
I owe a lot of cartons of beer to my mate Alex. He's There's most of the projects in and around this place he's had his hands in, so I owe him and a few others a lot of beer, I reckon.
It is a noticeable difference though. Walking in today, like how big a difference that's made.
Yeah.
It's like night and day kind of difference, which is amazing. And just but that you are willing to do those things, because there's like a lot of people with wedding venues that like it all comes down to the dollar figure. And you're like, well, that is a lot of money to do that. We can get away with it for another year. It's fine. But like to actually action the things that people want, it's not really heard of that often.
Yeah.
Same with aircon, it being off grid, I guess aircon was more of a challenge for us than the standard sort of, get aircon put in. But it was the biggest I guess driver for it was when you got 80 people on a dance floor inside here, all that, body heat. Is a lot. Generally the house is pretty good. We made sure we got all the insulation and stuff put in when we built it, but I guess the dance floor is when it was we were like, okay, we've got to do aircon.
It's supposed to be hot and sweaty. It's fine.
Those warmer months. It's just nice to take the edge off.
Yeah, for sure. Just a couple of plunge pools outside or something like that.
That has been on my list, but I don't know.
Maybe just a dam.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be fine. So do you have regular caterers that come up here a lot? Like how is building up the relationships with vendors been so far for yourself?
Yeah, we've had a few that are sort of regulars. The Italian job have come back a few times. Popular for wood-fired pizza and
Gareth Keenan,
in
season.
Yeah,
they all know the place very well, so we can trust them a lot. But it's an open book, really. Anyone can choose whatever caterer they want. If they want pizza or an ice cream van or and
people enjoying the outdoors here, if they can have their entire ceremony and reception or canapé style food outside. There's quite a lot of people that are looking to set up like a mini eat street, have a food truck, have a drinks van, a dessert van, create a bit of a festival up around the cocktail area.
Definitely.
And,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that's, awesome.
Yeah,
that's,
definitely. That I can see it from here. Like just having like a little L shape around it and like having everything there. Everyone can hang out in the middle.
Yeah.
We even had like a first dance out underneath the festoon lights, and it just looks so beautiful at night time. Like people having it out there, especially like a beautiful night.
Yeah.
Just kind of everyone having a circle around it, like gelati cart in the corner.
Yeah, it's a real chill vibe out there.
Yeah.
Even after the sunset, it's just nice to be outside.
Yeah, for sure.
Catch some fresh air and mingle.
We got married and I think we came inside to dance and for speeches and we were outside the rest of the night.
Yeah. Kids were running around everywhere.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yep.
It's really nice.
And even like going to the family thing, it is nice to be able to have kids on site. There's so many venues where you go to in Brizzy, Gold Coast, you're like, we can bring kids, but they're just going to be on a table in the corner there. They're going to have some iPads under the table.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was up here and like I think there must have been about 20 kids and they're just running around. They're having the best time.
Yeah.
The parents don't have to worry. They can still go and have fun and just see like the kids are like just there, they're fine.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, like leaning towards this type of family, this type of couple, it's just going to be, like you said, a bit more of a relaxed vibe, but people are going to really appreciate the family and friends kind of aspect there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest reasons we had a canapé style, like cocktail style wedding outside or reception, is because the kids, we didn't know how they were going to sit down for a few hours or inside. And we actually brightened the festoon lights outside because previously you couldn't see quite out to the swing or, if the kids ran off, you might not have been able to see them. So that was another improvement that we did where you can just see a bit more light. The kids can be 30 metres away and you can still see them. They're not just off into the abyss.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it does get quite dark out here. There's no city lights or anything. So
just give them a couple glow sticks. The kids love it. Just
we used to bring our dog out here and we had a collar on him that strobed red so we could see him running off around the
just bounding around the property.
Yeah.
Just like, how many kids you going to have? Cool, we'll get 20 of these.
Yeah.
That's the next improvement.
Yeah.
Are you guys out on site during the weddings? Or?
No.
Okay, cool.
So we're in before and after for setup, pack up, and the White Stag. They're our venue managers. So Drew, Mick, Bruce. They're out here doing the venue management. and on-day coordination. So we can offer on-day coordination for people as well.
Cool. And is that's pretty much a prerequisite that they would kind of get the white stag? Like, would anyone come out here by themselves at all, or you kind of always need?
No.
For the ceremony, we've always got venue manager here.
Ceremony and reception,
Yeah.
Cool.
We never not have them on site.
They live here.
Yeah, the party will just turn into a big doof.
They got a couple of swags out the back.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. Drew's got his swag out there. Yeah.
But no, we specifically don't allow camping because the party will just go, people will just write themselves off and it becomes a bit of a mess.
Yep.
And also, our rules are music off by 11, guests off by 11:30, which is pretty good for
really
out here.
Good. Really good.
Yeah, we want them to make the most of it, but then we can't do camping because for that reason. Yeah. But
there's plenty of accommodation around that people go to, and it's been really good actually. A lot of our neighbours have jumped on board with accommodation, setting up cabins and Airbnbs and things because they've been really supportive of us as a venue, so it's been great.
That's so good. I see that a lot around regional areas where there's like a kind of a central hub of a wedding venue, and then like all the Airbnbs get spread out around them as well.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see like you are feeding into the local towns.
Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden there's, every weekend there's 80 more people that are coming here that all need accommodation.
Yeah.
And it's so cool how it starts feeding out around the area.
Yeah.
I love it. It's unreal. And it's every time you find out about a new cabin or something, we can add it to our website as like, the accommodation list. It's awesome. It's awesome.
When we first opened or pre-opening, we were a little bit worried about not having enough accommodation in the local area.
Yeah.
And now it's not a worry at all. Like we definitely feel like there's plenty of accommodation for people and their guests to stay.
Yeah. I guess this area, the scenic rim in general, is just not a wedding destination, like your Mullaney and Mount Tambourine, that kind of areas where they're really set up and really mature sort of destinations for weddings. But yeah, I guess here is a bit of an unknown spot.
Yeah,
I think one day it will be though.
I think it will with the traction you guys are already getting.
Yeah,
it feels like it's definitely people like it's such a big draw card to come out here, and like you said, like you get outside and it's dark and the stars are bright. You don't get to see that anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's so special to just get away and be like, you feel like you're in the wilderness, but we're experiencing this amazing day as well.
Yeah.
How do most people find you? Is it like through Instagram or like how do you?
Yeah, so I do all the Instagrams and advertising.
Yep.
I've kind of just fluked it. But we started off on like all the Facebook groups.
Yep.
So Facebook was a big one to start with, but then I do a lot of Instagram too. Yep. I think Instagram right now would be our biggest where people find us. Mm-hmm. I am a little bit slack sometimes though. It's hard to keep up with it all the time.
It is. It's a full-time job, just social media by itself.
Yeah.
It's like on top of everything else.
Yeah.
It's hard to dedicate that time to that.
Yeah. I just like pre-schedule everything in advance and I kind of forget about it. And then I'm like, it's time to do that again. It might 2 weeks go past and I haven't posted anything. Yeah. But we'll get there.
And it's like an ever-evolving thing too. You got to adapt to social media trends and different platforms. And I don't think we've ventured into TikTok yet, but
I've created an account. I think I have one follower. Just another thing to post on and learn about. But I am like doing a few courses on social media and SEO and stuff like that, so I can improve our website and improve our Instagram and learn a bit more about it, because everything that we currently do is just I don't know, just go with the flow, make it up on the fly.
It seems to be working.
Yeah.
So far so good. Yeah.
Are you doing open days, or like if someone actually wanted to come out and see the venue, like how would they go about that?
We've never done an open day.
Yep.
I think there's different things around, like wedding trails where multiple venues open at once, but there's not a lot of venues around us.
Yep.
And if we jumped onto one of those wedding trails, we might be the one venue that's really out of the way of one of those other spots. So we're not too sure if people would go and see 3 or 4 venues, but then drive the extra way to come to this area.
Yeah. Or vice versa for other venues.
Yeah.
They might come to us and not go onwards.
There are other venues around, and I guess if it worked out that we could get some ones close by to do open days, that'd work for us. But we run regular viewings, so it's at least every fortnight, and we've got a weekend spot to do some viewings.
Yeah, amazing.
We were just open Saturday and Sunday this week for viewings, and that's people can sort of get on our website, book themselves in, and come out and see the place, and
Cool. So you're gonna have like three or four more venues yourself, and then start your own trail. Is that what you're saying?
Might be the way to do it. Yeah.
I'd love to start designing another one. We've learned so much.
Oh, yeah.
Like that would be the smart thing, to go and build another venue, but do it with all the knowledge that we currently have.
If anyone wants to build a venue, don't just go blindly into it like we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although that's been a blessing. Reach out to other venue owners. I reckon I'd be more than happy to sit down with anyone who wants to start a venue, and they can, what limited things I've learned in the last year or whatever.
Yeah.
Tell them about it. But like I said, I think it's a blessing that we were so naive going into it all, because we didn't already have this big long laundry list of all the challenges we were going to have to come up against. We didn't know what a council application was. We didn't know how to develop a driveway, car park, septic system, off-grid electrical system, none of that stuff. That's all the practical things that I think about. The social media that Sarah had to learn, the website that Sarah built, all that kind of stuff. We were naive to all of those challenges.
The council application,
yeah,
that was the biggest one.
All that fun stuff.
Yeah. You really put yourself out on the line, like financially, and we built all this in hope that we would get it approved. Yeah. And we were so lucky that it did get approved.
Yeah.
And just one thing after another, just like
Yeah.
admin.
But they nicely spread themselves out. So it was just like, oh, okay, we've got to get around this challenge. And then we got past that challenge, we're like, oh, sweet, well, now we've got a wedding venue. Oh, no, there's the next challenge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was just, they were nicely spread out. We could just sort of tackle them one by one.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wish that we got in touch with the White Stag sooner, before we even designed the venue, because at that point we were just making up, room sizes, and we didn't actually think about the way that like a wedding functions, or the flow of people or anything like that, and that would have been something that would have helped us. Getting in touch with someone in the wedding industry, someone who goes to so many weddings and can have a little bit of input into the space or the spaces.
And not to give you more roadblocks, but just little bits of insight.
Just tweaks. I mean, there's definitely things in hindsight that we would have done differently. Up until this point, but that being said, I don't think it's worked out too badly, but
we're here.
Exactly. My
But
wife and I were similar. We moved like an old Queenslander from Ipswich down to where we are in Byron.
Yeah.
And same thing, like if we had been builders, the amount of friends I had, like, don't do that. Don't do it. And we were like, we're photographers, like it'll be fine. And that's the same thing, like where you're just like, it'll be great, it'll be fine, and you just do it, and you kind of go to get those hurdles as they come along, and you just work through them. And it's like, whereas if you knew too much about it, you probably wouldn't have undertaken it.
But that's like, all the best things are like that. You get through the other side, and you didn't take the easy road. You accidentally took the hard road, but it was it's a journey. You learn so much.
You're talking about talking to other venue owners. Have other venue owners been pretty forthcoming? Like, have you met many other venue owners?
Yeah, or specifically all the venues that the White Stag work with.
Cool.
I met all those guys, and everyone's unreal.
Yeah.
Everyone's super approachable, super open about to talk about how they run things and what works well and doesn't for them.
Give little bits of advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so me looking at the both of you, like not typical what I would picture as a wedding venue owner. Like, do you feel like that when you've met the other owners as well, similar to that?
I don't know.
They've all been great.
I mean,
everyone's so different.
Yeah. I think there's like a perception that like even a lot of our family and friends must have of how that doing a wedding venue is this it's normal people don't do it. It's the hobbies of like the rich and famous that can put together wedding venues. We bought this piece of land for less than a 1-bedroom apartment in Brisbane. It was all like, and we'd saved up and built a shed. And there was different things, and it just all sort of happened. And it was just, like I said, it's taken us 6 years or so from buying the land to here. Probably closer to 7 years. But even like the deposit for the land, it was like
It was like all our savings.
Yeah, I earned like
it was a big risk, but
Yeah.
we didn't have kids. We were just like, I think,
I had about $45 in shares that I had to sell to buy this place.
Oh, sorry, Telstra.
Yeah. I think Telstra was one of them. Yeah.
But I guess there's no like typical venue owner, and it's nice to see the different venue owners and where they come from and their backgrounds and their stories about their venue and how their venue came about. Like us having never been in the wedding industry and just thinking it would be a great idea and a great project, and thinking we could share this place with so many people
for sure
for such beautiful times of their lives, and really make an impact on, that day they remember forever. So
exactly, even if it's like 50 weddings a year, 100 people, like 5,000 people every single year are going to remember our place. For the 20 years later when they're telling their kids about their wedding day, it's going to be here. Like that's so cool.
It's hard to like think about like moving it on at any stage, because like this venue has such a special story for us, and it's been such a journey that
if we ever sold this place, I think it would be hard to say goodbye to it. We might have to write into the terms and conditions that we're allowed to come back on our wedding anniversary or something. I don't know. But it's obviously we got our own memories here. Not only our kids sort of growing up and spending weekends out here, us getting married here.
Do you have many of your own events here, like Christmases or anything like that, where you will bring the family up here and actually get to enjoy the space yourself?
Yeah, we have. We've had Christmas here. My sister also got married here. We try and get the family out when it all aligns and everyone can come out and have a bit of a weekend. It's really nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Just got to move the furniture around.
Any exciting plans for the future we should know about?
We've got dreams.
We got dreams that evolve on a, not
hourly.
Hourly. I was about to say daily, but I thought it's more regular than that. I mean, we talk about, like Sarah said earlier, like we love a project so much that we are always looking for the next one. And I think if this venue ever got to the point where we were like, there's really nothing else for us to do, we wouldn't be able to sit still, and not have something. We've got a little bit of a home reno to distract us at the moment. A bit of a creative outlet, but
we'd love to build cabins. That was the original plan. And I think it would really complement our venue to have a little bit more accommodation on site. And we've thought about another structure, but we also don't want to take away from this structure, because this is what people are drawn to. You know, this shape, this building is what they love. And and being on top of a hill, it's so hard to build any other structure because it blocks views. Like, because we have 360-degree views. We can only build like on lower ground. So that we're not obstructing a beautiful view, and it's like hard to choose which one's going to,
definitely.
Which one are we going to block? Definitely not Mount Maroon.
No. I think we went through a couple of months of like debating to put a little bit of storage next to the house, because we knew that one bedroom's going to lose its view. 3 bedrooms can still see a bit, but the one we knew the one bedroom was going to lose, and that was a big deal to like, we've got to sacrifice bedroom number 3. It's gonna lose its view. But it was a necessity, having that storage up near the house, to run the practicality of furniture and bits and pieces that you need for the day.
It was where the practical and I had to envision it and imagine it, and then
Sarah was just saying, why don't you just put it underground so it doesn't block any view? Just dig it in the ground,
just real quick,
some kind of basement.
That's the next one. That's a wine cellar.
It's a good idea, actually.
Oh, now what do I say?
And then, like, for how far in advance currently should people be getting in contact with you? Like, say they want to book the venue, like how far out are they kind of booking currently?
Look, I think most of our inquiries now for 2026.
We're getting a few still for 2025, but we're pretty booked for 2025.
I know there was
peak periods.
Like September, October. All of a sudden, and it was early. It was early last year. I think Drew or Mick messaged and said, "Oh, that's the last weekend in September done." And I was like, "What?" And it was that was all booked out. And then people that are asking, people come through for viewings or and say, oh, I want a weekend in September, I'm like, oh, how does late November sound, or how does
2020?
How does August sound?
Yeah.
But so it was surprising. Those just all filled up. Those popular months, they filled up quick. So
May,
yeah,
everyone wants May. I think it's the winter wedding with the around the fire.
Definitely.
Yeah, so, it's a beautiful time of year.
Yeah, if people want May, August, September, October.
Yeah,
they probably need to start booking in now for 2026. Because a lot of that, probably half of those spots for 2026 are already taken.
Yeah,
but generally people are booking about 12 months out. Not too far. I think in the past they used to book a lot further out, but we're noticing about 12 months out now.
I think we're getting the odd 2027 inquiry.
Yeah,
and which is kind of scary to
it is, isn't it? When you get one, I just had one for Feb 2027, and you're like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like,
what am I going to be doing?
Where
am I living?
Exactly.
Like, it's hard to forecast actual changes to the venue because, like, you've got a limited period. We shut down for December, January each year just to conduct maintenance, groundwork, or if we did want to build cabins or something, like we could put something in place over that period.
Yeah. The grass just grows that fast.
But even that's difficult when people are like, oh no, we want to book you, and you're like, no, we close for December, January, and they're like, yeah, but we got this money, and you're like,
it's hard.
We close for December and January.
We're so protective of that because, like, also the team needs a break. It's nice to have that little spot where you can go. We can go on a holiday, or we can build something, do something.
Yeah, if you have to do those, if you do end up doing any of those things down the track, it's that's our chance.
Yeah,
we'll have to get all of our ducks in a line very early to make sure that
I guess even with the
December
builders, like December to January, like you're going to be booking them way in advance to try and get that spot too.
We'd have to prefab something off site and just get it, like do the ground prep and get it delivered.
Yeah, but that's who knows when that'll happen.
Yeah, if it'll happen.
We'll see.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we've got 50 minutes, you guys. It's awesome. That's really good.
Nice.
Like, do you have any other would you have any hints and tips for kind of brides or grooms looking for get married in the area?
Come and spend some time at the place. Like, come do an early viewing on a Sunday. Walk around, imagine the day. Get to know the different seasons of when you want to get married. Yeah. Like in winter, it's the sun sets earlier, so you might want to bring your ceremony forward a little bit so you get that extra time outside.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing that I don't think about often is when people come to view, people came to view on the weekend, and I think the majority of them were looking at winter 2026 weddings.
Yep.
And it's kind of explaining the seasons and the climate around that time of year, and it's really hard to imagine when it's kind of it was a pretty humid weekend here, and just after summer, it's hard to imagine. So if anyone who books with us, we encourage them to come back and spend a viewing planning, and we've had, I think most times we open up, someone will come who's planning, just doing their final planning for their wedding, timing their walk to the aisle and all that kind of stuff.
I can understand why the May would be so busy, because it just feels like so romantic. Like we're just going to have a blanket around us, like you said, the fire pit's down there, and even the accommodation as well, like so cozy in there. Like they can just imagine themselves just like.
We got married in May. But I'd say have a look at the vendors on our website. It's obviously not an extensive list of everyone, but they ask people who have worked with us previously, so that could be a first spot to go to start getting quotes or inquiring about what they envision for their wedding day and if the vendors can achieve that for them within their budget. There's lots of ways you can save money here. You can do a lot yourself, or you can do not much yourself. It depends what your budget is. But having that flexibility to check in 24 hours prior and style your tables or go to the local flower market.
Exactly.
For those people who do want to be a bit more hands-on or do it with their family.
And that's something we share with people that are inquiring at our venue is Sarah and her mum and grandma all did the florals together for our wedding. And it was
our daughter.
Everyone got involved. Like they all got involved, and it was
my auntie, my sisters.
Like a special thing for them all to do. I think I was out there with your grandpa picking weeds out,
Yeah.
doing the mowing, and it was good.
Yeah.
Just creating those little moments with
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. They're the parts you really remember.
They really are.
As well as the wedding day, but those special, everyone's here for you. So, yeah.
Love that.
Oh, I would say our wedding day was the best day of our lives. And, I think, there's, I kind of thought weddings were overrated until I got married.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of drank the Kool-Aid then. I thought, this is a special day. Like it was, I encourage people to lean into their weddings a bit more.
And to celebrate. My wife and I were saying we were together 9 years beforehand.
Yeah.
And same thing, like we'd had 3 kids and you're like, oh, it's just going to be the same.
Yeah.
And then it comes to your wedding day and you're like, this is really good.
Yeah.
It is different. And we only had 20 people. It was really intimate. We just had immediate family.
Yeah.
But it's a different feeling. And like everyone is there and like you kind of like, the speeches, but then you actually hear the speeches for you and you're like,
Everyone truly is there for you and celebrating your love.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
All
right. Well, where can people find you on socials and website and all that kind of thing?
We're at Maroon Hill Estate or www.maroonhillestate.com.
Beautiful. And they can organise viewings and everything like that through the website.
Yeah.
Website.
It's all on there.
Yeah, there's a phone number that on there they'll get through to Drew.
Yep.
And I'm glad it goes through to Drew because he knows a lot more about weddings than
Yeah.
than we do. He's a pro. But reach
Awesome.
out.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. It's been beautiful. And thank you so much for hosting us here as well. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the WedCo podcast. If you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe, follow, and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a review or connect with us on social media. New episodes drop every week, so be sure to join us next time for more wedding inspiration, tips, and stories. Until then, happy planning, and we'll see you soon.